What's going on, guys? This is Bento with another Steam controller playtest. Gonna be doing it on Dishonored, one of my few favorite stealth games. In fact, I think it's probably one of my top 10 games of all time. Dishonored, in case you guys don't know about, just a quick synopsis, is literally one of the best stealth games of, I would say, our generation. It borrows a lot from Thief, if any of you guys have ever played like the old Thief series, and pretty much just dealing with shadows, sneaking, trying to be thieves. But with Dishonored, you're more of an assassin. You're trying to uncover the plot of and like basically this secret organization that's behind why they kidnapped the Empress and a whole bunch of stuff you can pretty much just research. But I really wanted to try the Steam controller primarily because, well, one, it's a stealth game and I really like Dishonored, but I really wanted to see how the motion controls work with a couple aspects about the game, and just to see how overall it feels, or the Steam controller feels in terms of like handling a stealth game. Overall impressions are that I really did enjoy this. I think this has got to be, and I know I enjoyed the strike vector gameplay, but I think Dishonored has been one of the best control like playthroughs of this controller so far. I really like it because as a stealth game, I think one thing I really like that the controller has over keyboard and mouse is the fact that the thumbstick lets you walk differently. And I mean in terms of speed. And granted, like with some games, it's not really that big of a deal because you can crouching always get to, regardless of whether you run or not. Crouching will help you sneak by. But I really like the D-pad because it feels more fluid in terms of movement. That's just me personally. I mean, I still like using WASD on the keyboard, but I think the controller, a hybrid. The reason I like the Steam controller for this regard is because it's a hybrid between I'm using essentially a mouse and controller combo, and so I think it really blends the two together seamlessly because of how much functionality the controller offers. So as it stands right now, I have the the left stick is pretty much my movement. I have my right trigger as my left click my left click, and the left trigger as my right click. It never gets kind of confusing sometimes because they're reversed a little. But the trackpad is basically my aim, and I am using the motion control, so anytime I touch the right trackpad and move with the controller, you might see it a couple times because I need to aim better with some powers. But I'll essentially do it. And like here right now, I'm actually using it to move around the keyhole and stuff. I've also actually mapped the controller to have lean support, so if I tilt the controller to the left or to the right, Corvo will actually lean to the left and lean to the right. So I thought that was really cool. Some people actually have it on their D-pads. Like for example, if you tap the left trackpad on the left, it'll lean. If you tap it on the right, it'll lean right. But I actually have it more so for choosing weapons, and I like that just because it helps me select better. And I actually have it on like on tap to select, so it's really nice that I can access the quick items a lot faster. Granted, obviously this is a little limited because on the keyboard you normally have, say, the whole range of options from 0 to 9, so it's really easy to select weapons and items and powers a lot faster. But this will do. I mean, really, with Dishonored, I'm very minimalistic in my gameplay. I only really use blink, and I only use I believe the vision, the one that lets you see through walls. I like just the blink ability because it traverses faster, and I usually go for the no-kill runs, but I decided to try maybe just killing a bit because I wanted to show you guys a little more gameplay than me just hiding, sneaking. I mean, that's generally what Dishonored is, but that's how I rule. And also I have the X button as the interact button. Left trigger is again the right click, which does all the powers, and just to give you guys examples of what that does, the left click or the right trigger is basically him handling the sword. It's weird. It's like right hand or right trigger, left or right trigger. Well, it actually applies here, so not that big a deal. Because I mean, in some games, it's completely reversed, where your left click is sometimes your gun, which is usually like somewhere else, or I'm just spouting nonsense. But anyway, the left and right pedals are equipped either to be crouch or jump. I have it on right. I have the crouch on right because I want to be able to sprint and then just comfortably like slide under things. So I basically sprint with the left thumbstick, which is the sprint by the way, and then I press the right pedal, and therefore I go into the sliding motion. Not that I use it too often because I'm really cautious. Like if I really need to get somewhere, if I really need to go fast, then I usually sprint and slide. So if you're not too familiar with the current mission at the moment, I have to essentially assassinate this one guy named High Overseer Campbell. But there's also the option of saving one of the relatives of a friend back home or back at base. But if you want to save him, you have to kill Campbell a little later, and you actually have to destroy the poison that he actually put in the wine that he set for both of them. So as soon as if you saw earlier, I destroyed the wine, and then I'm just waiting up here for them to progress. But overall, I like the controller as what it's offered me so far. Feels fluid with the FPS controls as usual. Here I didn't really use the motion control that much, although I mean for leaning, essentially it's the only thing I did. It felt really good. It feels a little awkward at first because it's kind of like you're lifting the controller one way, you're lifting it the other, you're dropping it the other way. But you do get used to it eventually. And overall, it just felt really good in my hands. One criticism though is that if you play this game with the Steam controller and you use that mouse controller combo kind of thing, the game actually in general gives you hints as to what to use in case you forget. So like say if you're near, well essentially it's just tooltip hints. So if you forget how to use a power, if you need to remember how to pick up something, it'll tell you the button. So it gets a little confused sometimes because when I'm currently using the controller, it'll show like the F and A and all those buttons. But if I'm using the trackpad, which runs as the mice or the mouse, then it'll actually tell me that it's F to pick up. So I don't know. I tried looking through options to see if I can turn off tooltips and everything. Unfortunately, it's not there. It's just a minor issue, but I mean nothing to really scoff at. To be fair, this game was made a while back, and it's still a good game in my opinion, even today. Like, there are some standards for stealth games, like sure you could say Metal Gear is a good standard. Mark of the Ninja was actually a good favorite of mine, but Dishonored really like just emphasized how much I miss the Thief series and how much I really liked FPS sneaking.
See this painting? Believed to be early Sokolov. Something primal in there. The way the brushwork slashes across the canvas.
And again, normally I don't go for the kills for the or for the targets. I actually always go for the no-kill run. But I kind of wanted to be evil for at least like a good amount of time.
This once I'll just go my own way. You yours.
So overall, this part of the gameplay I wanted to show you guys is basically just me trying to get to the target, because usually that's how it works with Dishonored. But right now the rest of the gameplay from now on is just me trying to escape the prison and get back to headquarters. And put Campbell to sleep.
Seems to have faith in all the Sokolov's security devices he's put up all over the city, but
I'd show you guys other powers, but I still have to kind of progress a little more in the mission. And like I said, really the best power in the game is just Blink. I almost always exclusively use that power more so than like say the Plague of Rats or the what is it, the Inhabit, like trying to take over someone's body. I like the I'm more of an old-fashioned stealth guy, if that's the best way to describe it. And there I thought I could get up to the pipes, and I thought it might have been the angle, but I think you just can't get there in general.
Who's that, Regal? And that's Ratter, isn't it? How are you, boys? You miss your poor brother.
Here using the lean again, and this is where I think it really helps. Plus, if you lean with a motion controller too, then you can also look around a little. And there, unfortunately, you can't use the lean and the powers at the same time. I don't know why. I thought they would have implemented it. But again, using the blink is really nice because you can always just slip by enemies and they won't even see you. Personally, I think I'm probably going to play Dishonored again I really like to get more practice with the controller and pretty much just finish the game with it too. This will be like the 5th time I've actually beaten Dishonored. I really like this game. If you guys get the chance, it's great. I think it's been out for like 3 years too, so I'm sure everyone has it, really. Oh, and I did forget to mention I have the left and right bumpers on choke. The left bumper is actually the power wheel, which selects everything for you. But it's kind of a hindrance. Like sometimes you just want to pick a power, weapon, like ability on the fly. So I pretty much just have that to the left thumb pad. Thumb trackpad, I still call it.
Please, she's my sister. She's not a witch. I know her. Out of the way. You expect preferential treatment just because you are her brother? She will burn. All witches must burn. Bertold! Die, damn it!
And another thing that's really good is just since Dishonored is a little more platforming based, movement, like I said, feels great. Something I thought was hard is sometimes like I have to swipe down a lot. I have to look around to make sure I know what places are applicable. With a little practice, I finally got better at it. And I'm skipping all the bone charms and rune stuff because I'd rather... It's honestly just not fun for me to just show an extra 5 minutes of gameplay just to get the items and things. But that's pretty much it. Overall thoughts, again, I think the controller works very well with this game. If you've played Dishonored, you know how good it feels. I mean, it feels good, just about as good as any stealth game on the keyboard and mice. If you played it on controller, it's also good. I really like this hybrid. I think it works extraordinarily well, and I think if you really wanted to, I think you should try playing it again with a Steam controller. But thanks for watching, guys. That's all from me, and I'll see you all next time.